Experience the future of storage with the Intel SSD 750 series, delivering uncompromised performance with NVMe Express and PCIe 3.0. Click now to learn how you can win one free from Intel and PC Perspective. Hey everybody, welcome to PC Perspective. I'm Ryan Shrout, joined by Alan Malventano. We're here today to talk about the new Shield, not the old Shield, the new Shield. They renamed the old Shield Shield Portable.
Okay, so that was the thing that flipped open and had a screen.
Yeah, I've got one of those sitting over here someplace. Okay. And then we had the Shield tablet.
All right.
Which was a tablet.
Yep.
And now we have the Shield, which is a set-top box, console, whatever you want to call it, but they're officially calling it Shield Android TV.
It's tiny.
It is small. I kind of said it was about the size of an iPad mini in terms of footprint.
Yeah, that's about right.
The same size.
And it's you know,
fairly thin.
It's thicker than an iPad mini, obviously, but it's not that thick.
So this is the device that they announced at GDC back in March. And it is an Android TV powered device. Android TV is a new operating system kind of platform, I guess, that Google announced last year that they're finally rolling out today. That is, meant to, I don't want to say compete against Apple TV because Apple TV really hasn't progressed at all in the last couple of years, but meant to be a place where you can collect your local media, your streaming media, any of your streaming video apps, multimedia apps, Hulu's, Netflix's, all that stuff.
Sure.
And as well as implementing kind of voice search capability through the remote and the controller, while also being a gaming device. So there's a lot of interesting stuff. Like the hardware itself here is fairly, like a review of the NVIDIA Shield itself is fairly simple.
Yep.
It's a Tegra X1 processor, which is it's a quad-core A57 and a quad-core A53. It's a big.LITTLE combination, SoC, and then it's got a 256-core Maxwell architecture GPU in it. So in terms of GPU performance, this is going to blow away anything else in the mobile market or set-top market or anything like that. You got 3 gigs of RAM. They're going to sell 2 models. This one that we have here is a 16 gig model. So you've got 16 gigs of included storage, and then you have a micro SD card in the back to expand that. They also have a 500 gig model that has like a 2.5-inch hard drive internal on that, and we'll talk about why they did that in a second.
This is a cool remote.
Yeah, so the remote doesn't come with it. Oh. Which is unfortunate.
It's got like a headphone jack and stuff on it.
Yeah, it does. So the remote
Are there other things that have a headphone jack on a remote like that?
Yeah, I think so. I think the newest Rokus have that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So 16 gig, 500 gig option, those are there. Connectivity, you got gigabit Ethernet, 802.11 AC, 2x2.
Okay.
You got 2 USB 3.0 ports on the back. For further expansion, like if you want to hook up a USB hard drive, like external hard drive, you can do that.
And it's got Ethernet.
Yep. So okay. I mean, connectivity-wise, it's gigabit.
It's good, yeah.
Yeah. So you're pretty good there. And actually, to be honest, I haven't even hooked it up to Ethernet. I've only been using 802.11 AC. That's a little vent. Port? Yeah. For the processor. One of the benefits that this has, I mean, it's no secret, NVIDIA has not been as successful with the Tegra processors as they would like in terms of getting it in phones or other tablets and stuff.
Yeah.
They tend to be more power hungry. The GPUs are powerful. The benefit to this device is it's permanently plugged into power. Doesn't have to worry about a thermal envelope as much. Doesn't have to worry about a battery life.
Sure.
So it can run full speed CPU, full speed GPU.
It doesn't have to scale back ever.
Right.
Okay. Yeah,
that's one of the benefits you get in terms of performance. Benchmark wise, we're not going to show any benchmarks here. This is as good as it gets for an Android powered device. Right. The real thing that we're talking about here, well, I guess I'll mention this too. There's a couple of accessories for the Shield. This is a stand. You can basically
it just sits.
Stand it up. I don't want to do it because we have the HDMI connected. I don't want to have it disconnect on us. Basically, you can have it vertically.
Oh, okay.
Just stands up vertically.
Sure.
With the green glowy light up here pointing out, which is cool. And then this remote, which is, so it comes with a controller. It comes with one of the Shield controllers, which I have a cable connected to it because it's our audio output to the capture system. But this remote is, I say this in my review, this should have been included in the box.
Yeah, it looks like it should just be part of it.
It's a $30 device, but it's an extra that you have to buy separately. And it just lets you navigate through things, right? It's got your 4-way control, and it's got selection, and it's got a back button, it's got a home button, it's got a voice control button.
Seems very quick to respond.
It is. It works nicely. But you can do all of that with a controller, right? So you don't have to have this remote to do anything.
Yeah, but I'm talking in relative to maybe even Apple TV. Like that just seems to respond faster than Apple TV, which I have one.
And it works well. But I mean, hardware aside, which is really nicely done. This is really, it's an Android TV review, right? Because it's our first Android TV device. What you're looking at here is the home screen. After, the top bar here, it's kind of set up into these different rows. Right, the top bar is supposed to be your suggestions. I don't know why it suggests some of these things yet, but I haven't been using it very long for it to kind of figure out things. I don't have any interest in watching whatever Supernatural is, or I don't. And I also don't listen to Jason Aldean, so there's that. I would watch Taken 3 though. So these are some of the suggestions. There's some, it's game suggestions, YouTube suggestions, movie suggestions, all kinds of stuff comes through here. You can see Hulu Plus is integrated in this right now. Daredevil or The Flash is on here. You can get the Daredevil through Netflix with everything. So you got.
I like that it's just agnostic. It doesn't care. It's recommending Hulu stuff. It's recommending it right next to YouTube stuff.
Yep,
it's cool.
So and obviously you've got your Shield Hub section here, which is common if you've seen a Shield device. Stream games, download games, GeForce PC games. The same functionality exists here. If you have a GeForce powered PC on your local network, you can stream it directly to the Shield here. The benefit now is that this is hooked up to a TV by default.
Yeah. You don't have to
as
worry
opposed
about
to worry about a
hooking
small
up.
tablet screen or hooking your tablet up to the TV every time you want to do that. I think this will be a much more interesting and useful implementation of PC game streaming.
Right.
Plus, you can do stream gaming through Grid. You have to have an account. I don't think I have it signed in here yet. And then you can download games. These are actual native Android titles that we've talked about before. Talos Principle is out. War Thunder. Oh, they must have actually announced all this stuff at Google I/O because these weren't actually available
yesterday.
Like 2 hours ago, they weren't actually available. But you see they've got this collated here, Doom 3, Borderlands pre-sequel. Like there's a lot of interesting games coming out for it. This has got a list of stuff that we have installed, and then these are a list of apps we have installed. It comes pre-installed with Plex, which is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's how it kind of can get access to a lot of your local multimedia as well. Sling Television is installed. I've done a lot of this. Hulu Plus is installed. Now you mentioned kind of the thing where it doesn't really care where it's from, because Google is its own multimedia outlet. They sell movies and music, but they're showing Hulu Plus versions of stuff, and you can actually access that through the voice search and stuff as well. So if I say, think of one of these on the spot. Show superhero movies, right? And so if you've used Google Now at all, you know how fantastic the voice recognition stuff is. So this is going to give you an idea of
that's reasonable result.
Right, and it lists Hulu Plus. Any app that has integrated with the Android TV API, voice recognition API, will just show up here.
What about Netflix?
Netflix does not.
Why not?
They just chose to not.
It's weird.
Well, Netflix is an interesting case study because you can run Netflix on it. But what's interesting about it really is, Netflix is the dominant player in the market.
Sure.
They have no reason to kind of suddenly play by everybody's rules.
Yeah, I guess.
So I'm hoping with a little bit more pressure, if Android TV starts to pick up, that they'll maybe sign on and kind of change that part of their app so it does integrate through the search API.
Yeah, because it just seems like, just from this device, the standpoint of this, just as its own thing, they're just missing. Except for if you go to that one
it's
box,
there.
right? It's there, but it's not.
I think their answer is people are used to going to Netflix.
Yeah.
So they're going to continue to go to Netflix. They don't feel threatened by this kind of search capability, right?
I guess.
But if I do House of Cards.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Right? It shows up as being available on Google Play, but not on Netflix.
Right.
Right, and so here you would normally see, like Hulu Plus has weird stuff that kind of relates to House of Cards.
But if there was Netflix,
but
it would just be right there.
It would probably be the first one.
Yeah.
Right. So there's that. I honestly don't even know how House of Cards.
Play
I'm not sure what that is.
No.
Sure enough, you can
buy it.
You can buy it.
But you have to buy it as opposed to Netflix.
Being part of your Netflix subscription.
You would just watch it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's one interesting kind of thing with it. Also, I'll show you this here. Like we can't, because of HDCP, can't actually, we're trying to capture the output from this device directly. And it works in the menus, but if I actually try to watch the movie, we get that little red X. So we'll show you, I'll include some footage of the camera showing it. It all works great. One of the things that this device can do that other Android TV devices can't do is 4K.
Okay.
Right, so this HDMI port on the back of this is HDMI
2.0.
2.0,
Yeah.
4K 60. If your TV has support for it or your monitor has support for it, and that's a
question.
totally different debate because there's not a lot of them out there.
If you have one of those TVs, you should just research it. Like, don't count on having that support.
Yeah.
Even if you thought you might have, you might want to like look in some forums, something like that, because there's plenty of, especially like
my TV.
Ryan has a Samsung 4K TV, one specific model of it. I don't remember offhand, but
Yeah.
There's like a 100-page thread somewhere on the internet about just like whether
It's
or
on
not
the GeForce forums.
Yeah, like whether or not the TV has full HDMI 2.0 support
Right.
on that port.
If you do, though, this will be able to do 4K streaming, so YouTube 4K, Netflix 4K, which I did get up and running.
That's also cool.
It looked, as you would expect, it looked really, really, really good. You got to have the bandwidth for it and everything.
Yeah.
If you have local 4K content, either through Plex or whatever,
Yep.
what other means you're getting that stuff, that will work. Of course, you can watch YouTube videos, and that's really probably the most important part of this.
Yeah.
This is one of those devices that I think enthusiasts will find very simplistic, or maybe it's like, oh, I know how to get access to my content. I don't really need to worry about making it simple, right? But my wife, or your wife, or just every other person out there that wants access to some of this content, but they don't want to have to deal with it. Also, the movie keeps playing in the background. But like you can,
that is cool.
You have access to music and video. So if I want to play Echo Smith. Right, it should bring up, like it's just going to start a playlist of Echo Smith songs right away. And there's a lot of really cool functionality to that. The voice search works right. Anything you can do with Google Now, you can do on this. So I can say, what's the weather going to be like tomorrow? Oh, actually, it's search inside YouTube. So there we go. What's the weather going to be like tomorrow? And then I'll tell you, and it's talking to you, and it's telling you if you need an umbrella and all that stuff.
Cool.
So that all works well.
Can you do it without does that have a microphone? Or
the controller has a microphone too.
Is it the kind that's like live?
It's not
all the
always
time?
listening.
Okay, so you can't.
There's a voice button on the remote. Actually, also there's this area in between is actually a volume slider.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can actually
It's capacitive.
adjust the volume there if you want. So that's pretty neat. Like I said, this is a really cool piece of hardware. And it makes using the device
It's just much
dead
nicer.
simple.
Yeah.
Some people are going to be intimidated by a gaming controller.
Yeah.
And so this should have been in the box, but what are you going to do? I will show you. So we've talked about gaming on Shield devices before. This is, again, another iteration of the most powerful device you can get.
Sure.
So like the newest game out is Doom 3 Bfg Edition. This is running natively on this device at 1080p resolution.
Okay.
It is a 10-year-old game. I looked that up this morning to make sure. It came out in 2004.
Yep.
I was still in college when this game was released. But it still looks pretty good. Like you can tell some things like, wow, that head is not quite round. They didn't use as many polygons as they did back then.
Does this one come with the flashlight?
Yes, this is the
Flashlight
BFG
mod?
edition. You get to use
okay.
the flashlight right out of the
same
gate.
time that you have.
But I'll just walk around a little bit here and show you on this. And you'll notice this audio cable that I'm using out of the controller. This remote has it too. This is the capability. This is actually a pretty cool feature. Like
You could be watching TV quietly,
yeah,
right? Just with headphones, just
Yep.
like earbuds or something, plugged right into the remote.
into the remote.
While you're sitting there.
Or
on
the
couch.
controller, right? So if somebody's asleep, or the baby's asleep upstairs,
Yeah.
or you just have really good headphones and you have crappy, like you have a cheap TV with bad stereo speakers or something like that, and you just want to use headphones,
Yeah.
you can plug it into either the controller or this. And that's what we're using to get the gameplay audio out of here. So I'll just kind of walk around in this a little bit. It's a little hard to play at this particular angle, but it works really well. Like
Yeah, I mean it
looks
good refresh rate. you
Yep,
know.
it's
I mean,
running at 60 frames per second
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be running any slower than that. The graphics look, I mean, for a 10-year-old game, looks good.
Oh no! There. See, I got my flashlight on now. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Done, son. So you've got Doom 3. It's not a blazingly new title, but it's pretty cool that this is working on a mobile processor essentially.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, it's not even,
It will heat up. The fan does start to spin up, both with a little bit more gameplay time,
Sure.
as well as a lot of 4K video playback. It will do that, but it's not obnoxious. I've been testing it essentially in this environment with it sitting on a table right next to me, so that's not a big deal.
I mean, sure, it's not running a modern day game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. So hit that button and go back home. Sorry, somebody's trying to call me. Let's go back home to leave the app.
How do you do it? Tap home again.
Yeah. There
Okay.
we go. We've got other games on here.
That was pretty seamless right there. That just ended a game and went right back to the interface.
Yep.
It was just.
Everything has been very smooth with this. And that's probably a combination of what Google's done with the OS and what NVIDIA has done with the hardware itself. And of course, we have the brand new Goat Simulator zombie version, funnily called Goat Z, but just be careful when you search around that term.
The name.
I can headbutt people.
Sounded like.
Oh, don't. Oh, there's a zombie. No.
Oh, you kicked him.
Oh yeah, I did. And now this guy, I'm going to take this gravestone with me. Thanks. See ya.
Just gonna hit people with a gravestone.
Yeah, I figured,
All right.
these are just funny, weird games. But anything that will play on Android that has controller support will play on this. It plays very well. Like, actually, to be honest with you, Goat Simulator is a tough game on Android devices in terms of performance. It's got a lot of 3D stuff. They basically took a PC and just PC version and kind of ported it down.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they didn't do a whole bunch of optimizations for it.
Right.
But on this, it plays really well.
I'm still just kind of beside myself that it just goes into the game and out of it so seamlessly right back to the interface, because it's like.
Plus, you can play Crossy Road, and that really is the most important.
So you should buy this
gaming
right
title.
now, just so you can play Crossy Road.
Speaking of buying it, let's talk about the pricing. The 16 gig version of, and I immediately died. That is unbelievable.
All right.
The 16 gig version of this device is $199,
Okay.
and that includes the console, a controller, and HDMI cable, power cable, USB cable.
So with only 16 gigs, are there any issues with, like, I know with regular Android devices, you're trying to install a game to a SD card versus...
It has SD card support on there.
Yeah, but
and it actually has an option in the settings, which I think is new to Android TV, where you can say automatically install all my apps to the SD card.
Oh.
As opposed to having to go in and move them manually.
Well, then that just fixes the issue entirely.
That's a plus.
Yeah.
So I have I put a 32 gig card in here because like Doom 3 is 4 gigs and War Thunder is like a gig and Goat Simulator is like 2 gigs, right? Like all those games add up.
Yeah.
Of your 16 gigs, you probably have 10 gigs accessible.
I mean, the person who buys this probably has like a micro SD lying around that they can just throw
And
in
again,
there.
you have the USB ports for just a standard hard drive. I looked on Amazon, you can get a 2 terabyte Western Digital Passport drive for $80.
So you can just put like a thumb drive in the back and use it the same way that
It
you would
shows up
use-
just as mounted storage in Android.
and you can install games to it and everything?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know it was. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
mean, fully expandable that way. The 500 gig version is $299. So you pay $100 more
Okay.
for it. You get the 500 gig hard drive. I think you get a copy of Borderlands.
Oh, so you're
When it
getting
comes
you're
out-
getting an additional game.
Yeah, you get no games with it out of the box necessarily. I think that's just kind of a thing they're doing for the larger model, the Shield Pro as it's going to be branded.
Oh, okay.
The remote is $30. I think maybe it's 40, and the stand is 30. And this is really just a piece of metal. It's not plastic.
I mean, it
I'll
looks
give them
nice.
that, and it looks nice. And when it's standing up in it, it does look. It does look nice. But this clearly should have been an accessory. I'm fine with that. This should have been in the box.
Yeah.
That sucks, but you do what you got to do. They're trying to meet margins. They also announced today, I don't know how long this deal will be going on, that both the 16 and the 500 gig model will come with $30 of Google Play credit free and 3 months of Google Play Music subscription service, which is like a $10 a month thing.
Oh, okay.
So it's like $30 of value there. So you're getting something for it. So
Yeah.
it's an interesting device. Like $200. You can do PC game streaming, you can do grid streaming, you can do local Android gaming. Then you've got Netflix, Hulu, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
You've got the Android TV interface. And the problem that I think NVIDIA is going to have is there are going to be cheaper Android TV options out there. And Google's going to announce that some TVs are going to ship with Android TV as their smart TV platform.
Oh.
Right, so much of this will be possible in future TVs with just the TV. Now, 4K capability, probably not. the gaming that you can do on this, like the high-end gaming, Goat Simulator, Doom 3, those really important titles.
High end.
Not going to be possible on the TV integrated versions of it.
Sure.
So, and this is also has to compete against things like the Kindle Fire and even Google Chromecast to a certain degree, right? And a little bit, not so much that, but
Yeah.
things that provide, like if I go to Kindle Fire, I can install YouTube and Hulu Plus and some of this stuff, right?
Sure.
Sling TV. I can do that on my Kindle Fire TV at home, and that's like a $60 device, right? So you're definitely paying more for this. It's a totally different class of performance.
Yeah.
It's just a question of will you use that performance?
Yeah, it just depends on if the features are worth it to you.
The only other drawbacks I have to this is that day one, it does not have HBO Go or HBO Now.
Will
on
it?
It will. So if you remember, Apple announced kind of an exclusivity with HBO until
yeah,
I think
yeah.
June or July. I think maybe
Okay.
mid-June.
So it's coming.
It is. It will be there. And then also missing is Amazon Prime streaming app. And that again,
only on like Amazon branded devices or
you can
something?
get it on your phone and you can get it on your tablet.
But you can't install it on
You
this?
can install it on this, on Android TV, right? So
Weird.
I'm not sure. I would imagine they will do that eventually, but again, they have a competing platform with Fire TV and
yeah.
Fire TV Stick, so they may see Android TV as kind of creeping into their area. I think in the long run, if they want it, Amazon is not like a huge dominant player like Netflix. They don't have
Sure.
the capability to really kind of make those decisions on their own. I don't think so. I think it will end up coming back, and they'll be on this device. So
Okay.
I'm pretty impressed. I have questions. We have seen impressive hardware from NVIDIA with the Shield brand
Sure.
for a while.
Yeah, just been a matter of... it
Hasn't been a huge pickup on
Exactly, yeah.
it. This is, if Android TV is successful, this will be the highest performance Android TV box out there. And I think if Android TV is successful, this will sell in droves.
Yep.
If Android TV is kind of like I'm not really interested,
Then
or
this will only sell to people who want a convenient thing on...
Yeah.
Convenient set-top box to do like game streaming.
yeah.
Like from their PC
Yeah.
in their house.
Like I said, this is still early for us in terms of implementation. I'm looking forward to keeping one here, maybe having one at the house, see how those updates work, because that's where the 4K technology stuff is. But we have the higher internet speeds here, so you gotta go back and forth a little bit. Check out the full review. I got more thoughts and opinions on the Android TV interface, the hardware itself, over at pcper.com. And we'll check back with you guys soon. Thanks.